Welcome everyone. Question sheet দেয়া আছে ওদের কাছে একটু দেখে নিন হার্ড কপি দেয়া আছে হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে welcome everyone. We will discuss T.S. Eliot's great essay Tradition and Individual Challenge. Tradition and Individual Challenge. So this is the introduction. Tradition and Individual Challenge was published in 1919. But you know that his great writing, great poem, Western, was published in 1922, just after the First World War. He is an essay written by the poet and literary critic T.S. Eliot. The essay was first published in Egoist in 1919 and later in Eliot's first book of criticism, the Sacred Books. First of all, it was published from the Egoist, and second, he included it in his collection of the criticism essays. Okay, name is Sacred Books. It was published in 1920. Tradition and Individual Challenge is one of the more well-known work that Eliot produced in his creative capacity. He has written a number of criticism. He has evaluated, judged a number of texts, gives a number of philosophical ideas in literature. But this is the basic creation. It formulates Eliot's influential conception of the relationship between a poet and the literary tradition which precedes him. So next one, the relationship between tradition and individual. Already we have mentioned that the name of the text is, what is the name of the text? Tradition and individual talent. So it's a question, how the individual talent of a person is related with the tradition. So before it, we should know what tradition is and what is an individual talent actually, okay? So first, the relationship, conformity between the old and the new. Tradition means ordinary. In simple way, we know that it is the connectivity, connection with the old, or the sequential development, generation after generation, that is called tradition. And the link up with the new. New here indicates, refers to the individual challenge, okay? The existing which is modified by the introduction of a new work of art among them. The whole existing order must be, if ever so slightly, alterated, and so the relation, proportion, values of each work of art toward the whole and readjusted, and this is conformity between old and the new. Later it is given in details. No poet, no artist of any art has his complete meaning alone. Obviously, you cannot say that I only represent the present, or I only represent of what? Represent romantic or the Elizabethan or such and such age. But you cannot the complete one until you have the relation with the tradition. You have the link up with the other thing. This is the view of T.S. Eliot. His significance, his appearance, his appreciation of his relation to the dead, poets and artists. What is the image indicates? You have seen that it's a breeze, link up. It makes a link. It makes a relationship from among the between the two sides of the river. Two sides of the river here. One is old dead poets and critics, artists, with the new artist. So it is a must to have a relationship between these two. This is the tradition. So from this discussion, one thing we can understand that without having relationship between the tradition and new. You cannot say that there is a meaning. You cannot claim that you are complete one. So to have the complete, for the completeness, you must have the link with the tradition as well. So this is a great relation, and the image also indicates that's one. Next, tradition and individual talent. In this essay, Eliot discusses some vital problems of literature in a sustained manner. The idea of tradition is germane to both literary creation and literary criticism. He challenges the notion that a poet should be traced in proportion to his originality. So he challenges the notion that a poet should be traced in proportion to his originality. Next one, he says, apart from tradition, a poet is a mere phantom. Apart from the tradition, he is mere phantom. What does it mean by phantom? A shadow, nothing else. This is not the realistic things. He cannot be understood. He must therefore flow in the main current of the literature. Main current of the literature. What is the main current? How you can identify what is the main current? Whenever you have huge knowledge of the link or relationship with the tradition, then you can understand that which one is the main current of literature. Then tradition does not mean a blind or timid adherence to the success of a former generation. Frequently we claim that tradition means what? Backdated. Use of useless things. It should not be introduced nowadays. But here T.S. Eliot says that tradition means it is not, it doesn't indicate, it indicates something else. Okay? And it involves in the first place historical sense, which we may call merely indispensable to anyone who would continue to be a poet beyond his 25th year. Okay. So, what is the next? Already we have mentioned that. What is the relationship between tradition and individualism? And according to T.S. Eliot, we have already mentioned, without having the relationship with the tradition, no poet can claim that he is complete or his meaning is complete one. So there, it is a mandatory to have the relationship with the tradition. And the text has been divided into three sections, three segments, or you can say three major things he has focused here. First of all, you have seen that the concept of tradition. Second one, theory of depersonalization, and third one is the conclusion of summing up. So, can anyone repeat that? What are the three sections or segmentations he has used?
The concept of tradition, theory of depersonalization, the conclusion of summing up.
Concept of. So now, the first one, tradition and the individual talent. It's a three-part already, it's a repetition, and again, is in a larger way we will see it. The first part gives us Eliot's concept of tradition. Second one, the second part is developed his theory of the impersonality of poetry. So, the depersonalization and impersonality. Okay? And third part is in the nature of a conclusion of summing up of the whole discussion. So he sum up or what? Recap in the final section. And next one, he says that Eliot's concept of traditions. What is a tradition? Already we have mentioned. Again, we'll discuss it here in details. Tradition is not the slavish imitation of the past. So frequently we make a mistake. That tradition, it should not be followed because it's a slavish copy or the mimicness. But here, T.S. Eliot claims that it's not the slavish mimicness or copy something else. Okay? It is what? Tradition cannot be inherited. It can only be obtained by hard labor. Can anyone explain it? What does it mean? Yes, what we are getting. Frequently we say that we are Muslim by birth. This is the inherited, but it should be obtained by our hard labor. So tradition is also like that. The custom that should be practiced at hard labor. So tradition is not there is no indication of what? Inheritance. Okay. Then tradition can only be obtained by those who have the historical sense. So you have seen that there is another indication is given. What is the indication? Tradition to be traditional, you must have the historical sense. So tradition and history is interrelated and inseparable according to T.S. Eliot. Then historical sense involves the perception not only of the pastness of the past. It is not only the pastness of the past. What does it mean that? Just what facts you have seen. It is not a history. History, whenever the fact will inform you, at the same time it has some meanings, some influence as well. But also it is a presence. It is the presence. Historical sense. Why? Whenever there is an influence, there is a link up, there is a what? Persuasion to change your motion. It's called a what? Influence things is there, okay?
Yes, madam. Sorry.
Are interrelated. They cannot be separated from, are inseparable. Why? Because historical sense involves the presentation, perception, not only of the pastness of the past, but also of its presence. So whenever he says that not only the pastness of the past, but also the presence, so we can understand that it is a link, it's a breeze of your past and breeze of your present. I can make it in that way that whenever we stand up in front of a mirror, what do we see that? We see that our pastness, reflection, the face is the present, but except our body, what do we see? Everything is our past, it's a bad side. So this is the link between your past and present. And at the same time, whenever you are taking a snap or the photograph, what do you see that? Your past, your previous things are also taken. So this is the link between these two. And one who has the historical sense feels that he whole of the literature of Europe from Homer to his own day, including the literature of his own country, forms one continuous literary tradition. So literary tradition or historical sense means for English condition he says that it's a link, it should have the link from where? Homer to his own country, he is presents form of the writing. So if you don't have these ideas, you cannot say that your meaning is completeness. Your meaning is completeness. Is it clear now? Then the significance of tradition. Tradition does not mean a blind adherence to the ways of the previous generation. Tradition cannot be inherited, it can only be obtained. Tradition can only be obtained by those who have the historical sense. This is the repetition. Now let us discuss what is the depersonalization. This is the second part, you know it according to T.S. Eliot. Okay?
Yes.
Depersonalization means which is not personal and impersonal things. This is not the personal and impersonal thing. You see that in our country we say that the power of the Prime Minister, the power of the President must be decentralized, or the capital city must be decentralized. What does it mean that?
That means it's spread all over the country.
Yes, it should be split.
It's spread all over the country.
All over the country. Everyone, so that everyone can get the power, enjoy the power, and one man cannot control everything else. Okay? Next one, here in this essay, Eliot gives the importance to poetry rather than poet, which is depersonalization. Here, importance is what? Poetry, not the poet. Obviously, poet has some functions, some roles. He will tell it, but it is important. Next up, what? Theory of impersonality of poetry. The poet must be as impersonal as a scientist. So, neutralization is important. Like a scientist, if you are a scientist, whenever you will apply something else in that time, you should not be biased, or you should not be emotional. Your personal affection should not be included there. Otherwise, you cannot complete your scientific invention work. Rationality. You should use what? Your rationality, intellectual faculty, so that you can control everything very significant way. Next one, the emotions and passions of a poet must be depersonalized. The personal things should not be imported there. It should import which one? The others one. You are just a collector, and you will assimilate these things, compile these things, and form a new writing. This is your own task.
Import, that means sir, hire from other person.
Other person, you will collect it.
Yes.
Okay. Next one. Eliot says, the more perfect the artist, the more completely separate in him will be the man who suffers and the mind which creates. And next one and final one is what? The personality of the poet is mere receptacle. The personality of the poet is mere receptacle. What is the receptacle? Next we will discuss it. And the third one is a summary, summing up of the, what was the summing up of the wholeness, all things. Okay, Eliot concludes that way. Poetry is not a turning loss of emotion, but an escape from emotion. So in the second part, whenever we say that poet must control himself, he should not put what? His personal things. So in that time, you can say that it may be emotionless. No. Here, the critic says that, and Eliot makes it clear that no, it should not be emotionless. Emotion is there, but it should be escaped from the emotion. Then it is not an expression of personality, but an escape from the personality. It is not expression of personality, but from an what? Escape of personality. It's a very complicated, you think that. Not like that actually. Personality. Without having the personality, you cannot develop your idea. But whenever you are trying to show up yourself, so there are some people that show up, you can say that. So that type of things should be avoided, escape. But there you can build up something which can what? Which can enhance the personality of the readers. So this is the difference. One is a personal, another is in what? A collective preparation, collective development, achievement. Okay. Next one, Eliot does not deny personality or emotion to the poet. Only he must depersonalize his emotion. The poet can know what is to be done if he acquires a sense of tradition, the historical sense which makes him conscious not only of the present but also of the present moment of the past. So this is the link. Okay. Next one, what? This is the scientific. Already we have mentioned that a poet must be a scientist. So this is a scientific invention. The creative process of a poet equals what? You say sulfuric trioxide plus pani, water, equal of what? Sulfuric acid. So on the equation you have seen that catalyst, platinum is called a what? Catalyst. So without having the catalyst, you cannot form sulfuric acid. If you mix up sulfuric trioxide and water, it cannot be turned into, it cannot be made as sulfuric acid until there is a catalyst. What is the catalyst there? What is the catalyst? Platinum. Similarly, in the process of poetic creation, poet is the catalyst. Poet is the catalyst. What it forms, what it makes, what is the new elements it is. Platinum doesn't have any intention. It remains unchanged. Similarly, after the creation of a poem, the poet is still remain unchanged. Is it clear?
Yes.
Next, another equation is given. So here, oxygen equal what? Emotion.
Emotion.
And sulfur dioxide,
Feelings.
feelings equal poem. So oxygen plus sulfur dioxide means it is, but here in case of poetic creation of emotion plus feelings equal poem. So it is clear to us that T.S. Eliot doesn't reject emotion, rather he emphasizes on it. He just urges us to be depersonalized. Your personal emotion, your personal things should not be included there. You must collect from the others and try to make it in a process, in a way. Then another thing is there. If we compare the chemical elements with the abstract thing from the poet's life, already we have mentioned that sulfur dioxide means poet's feelings and emotion. Oxygen means poet's experience and imagination. Platinum is poet's mind. And this is a what? Poetry. The creation is called poetry. Creation. When you explain, you should try to follow the equation as well. It is given in the text. Okay? So first of all, what we can say that what is the poetic feelings and emotions? Sulfur dioxide. It is the main substance. But without having poet's experience and imagination, you cannot create a poem. So this is also important. That is called oxygen. And what is needed? Poet's mind. This is the catalyst. It is called also catalyst. Neutralization. Okay? There is no, you just provoke, but you cannot be the part of the. For example, we can say that the witnesses of a football match. When you are in a stadium, you just what? You can provoke the players. You can provoke the players from the neutral position. So after the game, or either you will be victorious or you will be defeated one. But your role will be the same for your team. Similarly, the poet's mind is like that. He will just collect everything and he will help to produce these things. What is that? Sulfuric acid means here? Poetry. So, poets have two things, should have two things. One is what? Sense of tradition and depersonalization. Without having these two, you cannot form the poetry. So poets needs two things. One is sense of tradition, and when you can have the sense of tradition, when you have the sense of history or historical sense. Is it clear? Another thing is depersonalization. Whenever you have the depersonal tendency, it means that you are telling everything from the neutral point of view. Next thing, theory of poetry. Emotion plus feelings plus experience equal poetry. Three things: emotion, feelings and experience. You have a lot of emotions, but you have no experience. Can you write in a poem? No. You have everything, but you have no feelings. Like a stone. So poet's mind is catalyst. Poet's mind is catalyst. Without it, poetry is not possible. But poet's personality is not there in the poem. He cannot change. He cannot provoke. He just what? He can help. He can help, or he can collect everything and put somewhere else. After the reaction, the poem will come out to us.
Sure.
Next.
Your personality, that means my personal things
Yes.
be added.
Avoid it. My personal things should not be included in the poem.
In the poem.
Poem.
Yes.
You just highlight which personality. the others, your surroundings, from your society, your nation. Okay. Thus the poet's mind is receptacle. It means what? Container. You are just a container. You are a receiver. You receive everything, but you cannot. It's a bank. Just think that you are a bank. You will receive everyone's money, but you cannot digest it. You cannot have this. You cannot use it.
Yes.
Whenever he demands, the customer demands, you must return it to him. That's why in our money there is a dollar is given. So you are a container. You are a receiver only. For seizing and storing up numberless feelings, emotions, phrases, images, which remain there until all the particles which can unite to form a new compound as present together. So any question regarding this?
Sir,
Obviously, what does it mean that whenever you have the emotion, you have the feelings, you have the... So thank you everyone. Should I start a new question?